Good morning, everyone. My name is Keith Lovett. I am the director of the zoo, and on behalf of the zoo and the Buttonwood Park Zoological Society, I'd like to welcome everybody here today on this beautiful Thursday morning. It's a very exciting day at the zoo. We're going to be making a major announcement about a gift from Bristol County Savings Bank and their Charitable Foundation to support the environmental and conservation education programs of the zoo. First off, I want to recognize two of our elected officials who are in the audience. New Bedford City Mayor John Mitchell and Massachusetts Representative Tony Cabral, who's also in the audience behind us today. Just to give you a little bit of a background, the zoo, you all set? Give you a little bit of background. The zoo unveiled its master plan in 2016, and I will say it's a very ambitious master plan. This is a master plan that will reinvent the entire zoo campus over the next 15 years. And when we were putting the master plan together, we really wanted to focus on three mission-based goals. Our first goal, which is near and dear to my heart, is the conservation of threatened and endangered species. It's important in a zoo that it's not just about coming and seeing animals, it's about saving animals that are at the threat of going extinct in the wild. And we're well on our way building new facilities and developing new programs that are helping save threatened and endangered species. I mentioned this during the annual meeting. We currently are supporting 13 conservation programs around the world to help save species that truthfully are on the risk of going extinct. Our second major focus is our environmental and conservation education programs. This is incredibly important to us. It's not just about children coming to the zoo and raising an awareness or having an awareness about threatened and endangered species. It's what they can do in their everyday life to help save these animals. I think a lot of people are familiar with our programs for toddlers and elementary school children, which are absolutely fantastic, from Zoo Crew and all the great programs that our education department has put together. But we also have scientific programs, internships for regional high school students, college students, graduate students, even doctorate students who are coming to the zoo to learn. We have two international students, two veterinarians that will be coming to the zoo this summer to study at the Buttonwood Park Zoo, and these are incredibly important to us. And we'll be talking about this in a little bit. We truthfully have already outgrown our facilities. We've been growing our education programs so strongly that we have actually outgrown our facilities. And the third major focus of our master plan is really community. We wanted to be a significant resource in the community. We are already one of the largest attended facilities. We do about 150,000 guests a year. But we want to be more than that. We want to be the place where people come to learn. People to come to, when they think of the zoo, they think of science. Also want to be the place where they come and have their family outings, their birthday parties, even their weddings. Marion Wayner, our board president, had her daughter's reception here at the zoo. So there's a lot that we're going to do at the zoo. We are going to be expanding this barn. Our surroundings not exactly the most picturesque at this time, but as these renderings show, we are going to be significantly modified in these grounds. We've already started this in the zoo. We've already created world-class habitats at the zoo for our... Nice catch, man. The real reason the mayor's right here right now. We've already created world-class habitats for our Asian elephants. Ruth and Emily are endangered Asian elephants, and our rainforest rivers and reefs, which has just been amazing. So many people have been blown away by that building. We'll be building our nature play area. This big dirt mound will, in the next few weeks, believe it or not, in about 4 weeks, will be turned into an exploratory area for children to explore nature in an unstructured way. And we're actually going to be bringing in red pandas, and endangered red pandas later this summer. Not distracting at all.
All right, do we have some more vannas up here?
Yeah, I know. So long story short, our next project we've been doing over the next year and a half is also this Nature Connection Education Center. We're basically going to take this building, which is pretty unassuming right now, and turn it into the renderings that you see here. The entire outside will be turned over. We're going to put a new facade on, a new installation outside, but we're also going to keep the core essence of the inside, which was built many years ago by Greater New Bedford group of Voc Tech students. And we're going to turn this into an education center, a regionally significant education center with multiple classrooms, nature play areas, indoor nature play areas, scientific exhibits, and even places for workshop and meetings. So we're very excited. Now, truthfully, we couldn't do this without great support we're going to be talking about today from Bristol County Savings Bank and Charitable Foundation, but also the board of directors of the zoo. I would just like the board of directors and audience to raise their hands. We have thank you. We have Marion Wayner, board president, vice president Pete Sally, also of Bristol County Savings Bank, Renee Moniz, Chris Jacobson, Fred Smilek. Who am I missing here? Christine Arsenal hiding behind the rendering over here. Thank you very much for all that you do. So at this moment, I would like to turn it over to our mayor, John Mitchell, and I will say, as much support as we get from so many in the community, like Bristol County Savings Bank, what the city does to support the zoo through its budgetary process, but also through its capital improvement plan, we would never be able to have the master plan and be able to accomplish what we already accomplished without the significant support of the mayor's office and also the city council here in New Bedford. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Mayor Mitchell.
All right, thanks everybody. What a day. We really have to go back to work after this. Just wanted to offer a couple of thoughts in this, but most especially words of thanks. The master plan that Keith talked about is a really good plan. It was the product of a wide array of input, and it makes a lot of sense both from the zoo standpoint, the institution standpoint, but as well as the community standpoint, the neighborhood standpoint. And over the last couple of years, together with the board, we've been driving it. And so that's why, today, as part of that master plan, we're seeing the first phases already up and running. The aquatic exhibit, the rivers, reefs, and Paula, help me.
Rainforest, rivers, and reefs.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Paula. That's up and running. It's fabulous. It's fabulous. It has overnight raised the zoo's attendance. The elephant exhibit, which someday will become, we believe, a rhino exhibit, as we plan a rhino exhibit, that's underway. This one, and really every aspect of the zoo, as Keith noted, is changing, and it's really exciting. The other thing that's really exciting, not only a good plan, and we love to plan, but we're execute well on our plans, but the fact that there is a very strong partnership now between the city and the board makes it happen. The board has grown so much stronger. I think it really coincided with the time that I left the board before I was mayor. As soon as I left the board of the zoo, then the Zoological Society just magically got better. But it was also helped by the folks who you see here, some of whom have been on for a long time, like Fred, and actually, Marion, you've been on for a while. Pete, yeah, all of you. But you guys have, under Marion's leadership and the work of Fred and Pete and everybody else who's been on for a long time, it's a really good partnership, and that's the way successful zoos work, almost invariably around the United States. There are some outliers where there are, like the National Zoo, that's federally funded, the San Diego Zoo, which is the sort of national tourist attraction. But by and large, the zoos that perform well around the country are ones that have strong public-private partnerships. And that's such a cliche term these days, but when it comes to zoos, it really does matter. These zoos are community assets, and at the end of the day, the community has to step up and embrace it, and local government, municipal government has a role to play in that alongside. So thanks to you guys, many thanks for your leadership and your hard work and your willingness to do a little bit extra. I want to thank Keith for his leadership as well. It's been how many years now? 5 years now? Yeah, so it makes a difference. It really does. And I just wanted to ask everybody to offer up a round of applause for Keith's hard work, but clear-eyed vision that's so apparent in everything that the zoo does these days. Paula's fabulous. I know this very well. Nobody has to tell me about what Paula does, but I know that all of you appreciate as well the work that she does behind the scenes and in front as well. And so, look, there is, and I want to just talk specifically about this project. This is a good example of the collaborative approach. This has been a great exhibit over the years. It was built, the barn was built by Voc Tech students very skillfully a number of years ago, and it served its purpose well, but the strategic plan, if it calls for anything, it calls for taking what the zoo does to the proverbial next level, and that's why we're here today. It's ambitious, but it's doable, and it's doable because of the largesse, the support, the civic mindedness of not just the board, not just the city, but the donors led by Bristol County Savings Bank. And I do want to note the handiwork of the contributions of Erwin Jacobs and George Ketchus. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody along the way, as well as members of the board. But every great fundraising effort has a lead sponsor, and the lead sponsor in this particular project is one that has demonstrated itself to be civically minded in the best traditions of local banking. And I really I want to express my gratitude to you, Pat, and Michelle, and the entire board, and the entire team at Bristol County for recognizing the value of this community investment. It is an investment in every respect. The returns on investment will be not only financial and otherwise quantifiable, but they are civic and unquantifiable, and perhaps in that way even more important, because there will be kids like the ones we've seen today frolicking around the zoo who will in some way make a memory here, have some fun with friends and family, and learn something along the way. We'll never know just how much or how deep that experience it was, but we'll know it's a really good thing, and we'll hope to instill upon them the obligation to pay it forward to future generations. And so that's really what this investment is about, everybody. I will note that the city does have to step up to do its part. That's crucial. There will be a very important vote of the city council next week or 2 weeks from now. We'll get everybody that date so the city matches the contributions of our donors, so that we can continue to move this and other projects along with the zoo. The city council has been very supportive of the zoo over the years, and we have every reason to believe that the city council will continue that support. But hearing from all of you will make it all the easier from them, so I encourage you to do just that, and I know you will. But again, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank George Frigorito, who every time he designs something, I've just seen him here. I know he must have designed this, and it looks great, George. I mean, he always stands in the back of the crowd. I want to make sure I recognize you for your craftsmanship. It's really great, and congratulations on this project. I really look forward to getting in there and experiencing it with all the kids. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Mayor. Our next speaker is Representative Tony Cabral, and not only do we receive great support from the city, we also receive great support from the state as well. And Representative Cabral is one of the major reasons that we get that support. We get it through different types of funding sources, through earmarks, through grants. So not only are we working with the city to create the zoo, we're also working on a state level to create the zoo. And with that, I'd like to introduce and actually thank Representative Tony Cabral.
Good morning. Let me begin by thanking Keith and his whole team here at the zoo. In the last couple of years, they've done terrific work, really putting together a master plan that is realistic and that can be accomplished over the timeline that they have really set out to do. This is just another step on that master plan, and we are delighted here. I want to thank Marion and the entire Zoological Society board for their engagement and for their they are the ones, they are the community, they are the ones who engage the community and help make the links between the partnerships that we can create in the private sector, such as the partnership today with Bristol County Savings Bank. Truly a community bank. I think they care about the communities that they serve. They care about not only their clients in the communities that they are in, but they care about the community as a whole, and I think they ought to be congratulated. This is not just their first initiative. They've been in this community over and over again in participating with the various initiatives, be at the zoo, be at the Rural Museum, or others. So we are very thankful, and I know the community is extremely thankful for your involvement, for your commitment. So we want to thank you that. You know, as Keith was saying at the beginning, conservation, it is important. I love that concept of the master plan. Community, which is the other goal that he set out to do on this master plan. And it is community to me above everything else that we like about the master plan and the goals of the master plan. But community really is what this zoo is about. It's about creating the places, friendly places for the community, for all ages, but in particular for me, for kids, the children. If you walk through the zoo anytime and you look at kids' faces, at the children's faces when they're walking through, it's amazing. They're excited, they're inspired, and at the same time they're learning something about nature, something about their environment and their connection to nature. And I think that's what this project is about as well. I mean, I know my daughter loves coming here. By the way, this is my district too, so thank you. But my daughter loves coming here. She loves going to the zoo. This and others. Actually today, she's on a field trip to Roger Williams Zoo, which she likes going there as well. But what it tells you is this zoo here, Buttonwood Park Zoo, the New Bedford Zoo, if I may add, is really, this one and the one in Rhode Island are the key for the region. And I think we have a great opportunity here to really turn this into the kind of attraction for the general public and for the community, but for children in particular. And I know the new exhibits, such as this one and others, will really begin to change the makeup and the number of visits to this facility. We know we love Ruth and Emily. They're getting up there in age. So I think it's great that the master plan is looking to create other attractions, or main attractions, in the zoo besides the elephant exhibit, which at some point, they probably need to retire at some point, right? We don't like to talk about that, and we don't want to talk about that right now, but quite frankly, I think the master plan is really sets us in a journey, in a path to get us to get this zoo to a place where it doesn't rely on one exhibit, doesn't rely on one particular aspect, but it creates one that allows all sectors of the community to really enjoy and to really make this zoo the #1 zoo in the region. So thank you again, and Bristol County, thank you. You guys are great.
So next I'm going to be introducing someone who has been instrumental in the redevelopment of the zoo. That is Carrie Hawthorne, our curator of education. We talk a lot about our education programs here at the zoo, and we have come a long way. When we rolled out the master plan, when we hired Carrie, as I said before, we were very ambitious, and honestly what we expected from our education programs, I didn't know how long it would take to accomplish them. I would say that we've looked at that plan and we've actually expanded it, because in very short order, people as talented as Carrie Hawthorne in the education department have really blown us away at what we're able to create. Not just, as I said, from elementary school level, but all the way up to a college level, all the way up to a PhD level. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to Carrie Hawthorne, the zoo's curator of education.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Obviously, as the curator of education, this day and this project is really near and dear to my heart, and is really a dream come true that couldn't happen without everyone's support, as we've already said, so thank you so much. So I've been here at the zoo almost 4 years, so a little bit less than Keith has been here, and as he mentioned, we've really tried to take a look at the programming that's happening here just with what we currently have, and try to provide opportunities for the South Coast to really engage in fun, inspirational, and educational programming. And that has involved really looking at all the age ranges, starting with our early childhood programming and providing new programming for that age group. We just recently realigned all of our school programs to align to the state standards for preschool all the way through high school, and even working with college students. On top of that, we have incorporated Science on a Sphere into one of our classrooms. It's already seen tens of thousands of people have gone through that program. Just yesterday, we had 500 kids go through Science on a Sphere, so it's really increased what we do here at the zoo and brought a whole new level to our science programming. We provide outreach with the Zoomobile now into the community, so bringing animals out to places that maybe they can't get to us, like a nursing home or a hospital. So can we get the zoo out into the community when they can't get to us? We have also been able to develop a lot of new adult learning opportunities like our wildlife education series. So really trying to figure out how we can provide opportunities for everyone in the community. Along the way, we've had some fun creating unique opportunities to collaborate with partners like the New Bedford Symphony Orchestra and the New Bedford Public Schools. They're really integral in everything that we do. And as Keith said, I can honestly say that the education team has achieved a lot of our goals already, and we are currently filling our 2 current classrooms to capacity for sure. For example, at the zoo, we see over 12,000 school kids come through our doors every year for our field trip. To put that in perspective, about 5,000 of those kids actually participate in an education program with our education team. This time of year, I'm constantly, unfortunately, having to give the bad news to a lot of teachers that we just don't have any more classroom space to provide programming for those kids. So of those 7,000 that are coming through for a general field trip with no program, I can honestly say they are requesting programs. We just can't offer them at this time. And that's why this program and the support of everybody is really crucial. One really good example, yesterday we had the opportunity to host an all-school field trip for Wood Elementary from Fairhaven. To put that to you, to give you an idea of what that means, that's about 500 kids all descending upon the zoo at one time. We didn't want them to just come to the zoo as 500 kids and walk through the zoo. We wanted to provide inquiry opportunities for them to really explore and learn on a deeper level. So they participated in 5 different stations. They rotated through 5 different stations with educators from the zoo, leading them in activities. And because we only had 2 classrooms, a lot of those programs took place in tents out on zoo grounds, which we made work, but obviously having these classrooms would have made that opportunity even richer for us and the students. During our busy summer months, when we have some of our busiest and most visitorship, our Zoo Crew program is taking place, which is an excellent opportunity for families to bring their kids here for camp, to really engage in environmental education on a deeper level during their summer months. But unfortunately, that means that our classrooms are being taken up with that program, so we can't offer programming to the groups that come through. And even more importantly, we'd love to be able to offer professional development opportunities for teachers, early childhood educators with our new nature play space. So these classrooms are really going to open up all kinds of doorways for that time of year as well. It really is just a constant struggle of deciding between a mission-based program, a revenue-generating program, and everything in between, because we know that there's a demand for the programs that we have. We know that there can be a really great impact of those programs, and we want to be able to provide it to everybody. And so the addition of the classrooms here in this building and everything that it's going to provide is really going to give us the tools that we need to really take our mission of the education department to a whole new level. And I just want to thank everyone for helping us inspire the next generation of environmentalists. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Carrie. As I've been saying, there's so many education programs, and Carrie in the education department gets so much credit. And Carrie's been talking about STEM programs and the curriculum that are developed, but it's so much more than that. I have the advantage, while you guys have your back to it, watching how many children have been coming up to see the great horned owl behind you. Just what's going on. The field trip yesterday, some of the children stopped me and they were asking about, as you might have been noticing, these birds flying overhead. Those are barn swallows. Those are barn swallows that are actually nesting in this barn as we speak. But there's so much going on campus. You walk by a beehive up there. We have a pollinator program talking about the importance of butterflies and bees here at the zoo. So there's so much going on. George Figueredo, I haven't talked to you about that. We haven't broke the news to the barn swallows that they're not going to be able to nest in. So you're going to have to create the green program to allow them to still nest inside the building. With that, I like.
George is thrilled.
Yes, he is thrilled. The joys of working at a zoo. I am very honored to introduce our next guest, our next speaker, Pat Murphy, President and CEO of Bristol County Savings Bank. Bristol County Savings Bank has been one of the major partners of the zoo for many, many years, long before I became at the zoo. And they have supported so many programs, not only this major announcement we'll be making today, but also the education program at the zoo, even the family community-based events, Boo at the Zoo. I can't even tell you how many years Bristol County Savings Bank has been sponsoring Boo at the Zoo. And in addition to Pat Murphy, we have Pete Selly. Not Murray, I'm sorry. Wow.
I'll answer to anything.
I know. I'll try to get Pete Selly's name right. In addition to Pat, we have Pete Selly, who is Vice President of the Board of Directors, and Pat has been working with the zoo for many years. We have Michelle Roberts from the Charitable Foundation of Bristol County Savings Bank. We have board members, Dr. Gene McCormick, Dave Medeiros. So there's so many of you in the audience that I really want to thank. Yes, I'm really dealing with the fact that I messed up your name that bad. Anyway.
Getting another dime from them now.
Yeah, I know. We thought we were going to announce a major gift today. So anyway, with that, so much of what you guys do to help support us in our environmental education program means so much to us, but also to the children of the community. And with that, I'd like to introduce Pat Murray to introduce the talk. Wow.
Thank you, Keith. And I will honestly answer to anything except, please don't call me late to dinner. That's it. But all of us here today are grateful for the work you and Carrie, as well as Mayor Mitchell, Representative Cabral, do each day to make our community a better place to live and work. On behalf of the bank and our Charitable Foundation, I can't tell you how proud we are to continue to do our part with the Buttonwood Park Zoological Society, and specifically the zoo, and specifically with this tremendous education center that you just heard about. It's exciting to imagine that the center will soon be the go-to destination for the zoo's expanded education initiatives, as Carrie just mentioned. I know I, for one, am looking forward to seeing even more programs that connect even more people, particularly children, to nature, while emphasizing the vital impact the environment and conservation efforts have on wildlife. The bank gravitates towards programs like these. I gravitate to programs like these. Many of you probably don't know that before changing my major to finance and accounting, I did a year of pre-veterinary at University of Massachusetts Amherst. I wanted to be a veterinarian. And unfortunately, biology and chemistry got in the way. Accounting and finance became very simple for me. But to be here today, and to be here over the last several years that the bank has been involved with the zoo, getting that smell back, because I worked the barns in Amherst, and we've got these young adults coming up behind us that hopefully will go into this field. Follow your dreams. It is great to have programs just like these here at the New Bedford Zoo, so that you can figure out if this is really what you want to do for the rest of your life. But follow your dreams. The bank believes in the community. This allows us to place a premium on being actively involved. In fact, our mission is to support our communities by making them a better place to live and work. With 4 of the bank branches in the New Bedford-Dartmouth area, including our newest branch, which we opened just a month ago, right here in downtown New Bedford in the historic Handleworks building, we are always looking for ways to work together with area schools, local community organizations such as the zoo, and government agencies to meet the growing needs of the population and to help support the local economy. Just to give you an idea, since 2007, the bank and our foundation have committed more than $4.5 million to hundreds of nonprofit organizations in the South Coast. We have a particular emphasis towards supporting local education and literacy programs. We believe that education is the key to ensuring a bright future for the greater New Bedford area. This is why we partnered on this particular project and believe that it continues to be such a great fit for the type of investment that we feel makes the most impact on people's lives. The bank and the foundation has been mentioned, has supported many zoo initiatives. In fact, the first one that I got involved with was with Boo and the Zoo. And, you know, somebody told me I had to come dressed up, and so I came down as Batman that first year and gave up the candy. Yeah. But we've also been involved with the Red, White, and Brew, Feast in the Wild, and Howl, just to name a few. So now for the fun part, to recommit our $300,000 commitment to this amazing project. So with that, thank you for allowing us to help you in some small way.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.